Hello, my name is Masami Kawasato. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a program director at Metro Regional Arts Council, also known as MRAC. I'm joined for this video series with my colleague, Sam Stallman. Sam, would you like to take a minute to introduce yourself?
Hey y'all, I'm Sam Stallman. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the panel and events manager at the Metropolitan Regional Arts Council.
Sam and I are co-presenting this video series about receiving an MRAC grant. So congratulations, y'all. You have received a grant from the Metropolitan Regional Arts Council. We are excited that we could play a small part in helping you create arts access for our community. We've created this video series to help you through our grant process. This specific video will cover grant agreements. There are 5 major steps that take place once you receive an MRAC grant. First, you will receive an email that you have been awarded a grant. Yay! Our recommendation is that you read and keep this email for reference. Second, you will fill out and submit a grant agreement online. This will take place in the MRAC grant interface, which is the same place where you submitted your grant. That second line, you will sign and submit the grant agreement, is in bold here because this is what this video will cover. The third step in the grant process is that you will implement your project, meaning go do your project. If during the course of the project, a change to your project happens, we ask that you please contact your program director. Fourth, during the course of your project, please take some time to evaluate it. This includes tracking the grant funds and potentially tracking attendance or community demographics or numbers. And finally, you will submit a final report for the grant that you received. As I previously mentioned, this video will focus on the second line of the slide, sign and submit the grant agreement, which also includes you filling out, signing, and uploading a W-9. All right, so congratulations, you got a grant. On the right of this slide, there is an image of Gene Belcher from Bob's Burgers excitedly throwing his hands up. As I mentioned, you will be sent an email to the email address that you have put in our grant interface. Please be aware that in that email, you may receive notice that your grant has a contingency that needs to be fulfilled before we sent you the grant agreement and grant funds. And I will have a slide about contingencies coming up next. However, the majority of you will receive an email that lets you know of the grant award and also includes a link to the grant agreement, which must be submitted online in the grant interface. Please be aware that everybody must submit a grant agreement with a W-9. It will, once you submit it on the grant interface, it will be approved by our executive director. And we need that information before we can send the grant check your way. This slide is called Contingency. So as I previously mentioned, you may need to complete a contingency prior to receiving your grant agreement. Usually contingencies are about outstanding final reports from previous grants or needing additional clarity about your project, budget, or timeline. If you have a contingency on your grant and have any questions, please email your program director. Your program director's name and email will be included in the email that you get. And please report back on your contingency by the due date given in your email to the program director. Please be aware that if you do not report back within the timeline of the contingency, that you may lose the grant award. So please check those due dates and complete those in the time allotted. And I want to be clear that it is absolutely always okay to ask us questions. We know some of you are brand new to the grant process, and I want to be clear that is totally normal and okay. That means if you have any questions about your contingency or the grant award email, you can absolutely call or email your program director to get your questions answered. We would be more than happy to do that. So please do not be shy or embarrassed to ask those questions that you have. We'd rather you ask us because we want you to feel confident about the grant and set you up for success.
Thanks, Masami. This is now Sam again. So you may be wondering, where can I find all this information about my grant agreement or grant contingencies? Well, this information all lives in our grant interface, and this is the same website where you initially submitted your grant. To go to the grant interface, visit MRAC.org and click on one of the yellow boxes. This slide displays the MRAC's website homepage and shows those 3 yellow boxes in the middle of the homepage. If you received a flexible support or arts impact for groups grant, please click on Manage My Organizational Grant. If you received a Next Step Fund grant or an arts impact for individuals grant, please click on the Manage My Individual Artist Grant. Once you click on one of the yellow buttons, it will bring you to our grant interface, which is displayed on the right side of this slide. You will log in using the same information that you used to submit your grant. Again, please be sure to use an email address that you use regularly for the grant interface, as we don't want you missing out on any important emails about your grant. This slide shows the applicant dashboard of our grant interface. And this is what you will see once you've logged into the grant interface. You can locate your grants under active requests, which is below the section that has contact information either about your organization or yourself. And while you're there, please be sure to check the contact section to make sure that your information, including your email address and your mailing address, is up to date. You can edit that information anytime by clicking the pencil icon that's located on the top right of the contact box. Again, can't stress this enough. It's really important that this information is up to date so you don't miss out on important emails or miss out on your grant check. Once you have navigated to the Active Grant tab, click on the arrow on the far left of the project name to view more information about your grant. This is where you will see a section entitled Follow-up Forms. You will see under Follow-up Forms that there is a grant agreement line. Click on the button on the far right to complete your grant agreement and to submit your final report. If either of the blue buttons on the far right says Edit, it means it has not been completed or submitted. Once it says View, it means that that component is completed. So you want to make sure to get it to that View section. You will then read through your grant agreement. You must read and sign your grant agreement within 30 days after you've received notice about your grant. Your grant agreement will take information from your application, including your project start and end date, and other project details to create a contract with MRAC. Please read the entire thing before signing. It is a contract. And when you sign and submit it, you are agreeing to do the project as you described in the app. You're agreeing to acknowledge MRAC as a funding source, along with using our logos in any promotional materials. You're agreeing to evaluate the project. You're agreeing to let us know of any project changes and waiting until you receive MRAC's approval before making those changes. You're agreeing to track your expenses, and you're agreeing to submit a final report 2 months after your project ends. Your grant agreement will also let you know when your final report is. And again, that's about 2 months after your project end date. And that's the date that you chose when you submitted your application. Lastly, your grant agreement will also ask you to upload a W-9. There's a link to a PDF that you can fill out in the grant agreement for the W-9. So let's get into W-9s. If you have received a Next Step Fund or Arts Impact for Individuals grant, please fill out the W-9 as an individual. You will enter your name, your mailing address, and your social security number on the W-9. You will need to sign and date the W-9, And the W-9 does need to be in our current fiscal year, so we recommend filling out a new form for every grant agreement. Please be sure to save the document before uploading, so you're not uploading a blank document to our interface. And you can use applications like Adobe, DocuSign, Preview, or Google Chrome to fill out the W-9 electronically. Then you'll upload the W-9 to the interface and you can submit your grant agreement. If you have a flexible support or arts impact for groups grant, please fill out the W-9 as an organization. For this slide, we're going to talk about if you are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So if you are your own 501c3 nonprofit, you will enter your organization name, your organization address, and your organization employer identification number on the W-9. Hint, the organization employer identification number is the same number as your federal tax ID number. All of the information you enter on the W-9 should match into what you have put into the grant interface with your application. You will then need to sign and date the W-9, and again, the W-9 needs to be in our current fiscal year, so we recommend filling out a new W-9 for every grant agreement. You'll then upload that to the grant interface, and you can submit your grant agreement. And lastly, if you have received a flexible support or arts impact for groups grant and you applied using a fiscal sponsor, we need your fiscal sponsors W-9. We put that in bold because it's really important. We need your fiscal sponsors W-9. So the W-9 you upload needs to have your fiscal sponsors organization name, your fiscal sponsors address, and your fiscal sponsors employer identification number. So the easiest way to do that is to ask your fiscal sponsor to fill out a W-9 and send it to you. The W-9 must be signed and dated by the fiscal sponsor. And again, it needs to be signed and dated in our current fiscal year, so we recommend getting a new one for each grant agreement. And again, all the information that the fiscal sponsor enters on the W-9 should match what you entered in your application. Then you'll upload that W-9 to the grant agreement on the grant interface, and then you'll submit your grant agreement.
This slide is called Grant Checks, and on the right of the slide is an image of Tina from Bob's Burgers handing out money to another character, Tammy, which is exactly what we're excited to do for you once we have received your grant agreement. So after you submit the grant agreement in the grant interface, our executive director will approve it. If for any reason our executive director needs additional info or an edit on your W-9, you will get an email from her stating what we need additionally from you. So if that happens, please respond accordingly. Please be aware that MRAC mails checks and cuts checks twice a month. So you may experience a delay in receiving that check depending on where we are in that calendar process of writing out checks twice a month. As Sam and I have previously mentioned, do be sure that the information in your grant interface is accurate because we will mail the checks to the address on file in the grant interface. For fiscally sponsored groups, please be aware that your check will be mailed to your fiscal sponsor's address that you entered in the grant interface. All right, and if you have any questions about any part of this process, we welcome you to contact your program director. On the right of this slide, there is an image of Bob from Bob's Burgers making a phone call. Perhaps we are implying you can also call us to ask us questions. So feel free to reach out to any of the program directors if you have a question. Please keep in mind that your program director's name and email will be in the grant agreement or contingency email. And to review, currently our program directors are myself, Masami Kawasato, and you can get in touch with me at masami@mrac.org. And Jovan Rebolar, you can get in touch with Jovan at jovan@mrac.org. And Scott Hartley, scott@mrac.org, and Mireya Espino, mireya@mrac.org. or you can go to the staff listing on the MRAC page to find our contact information there as well. Honestly, all questions are welcome, no judgment on any of your questions. If you have one, please ask us. As long as you ask us, we will respond and answer. Thank you for your time in watching this video today. We hope it was helpful for you. Again, if you have additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out.